Hey everyone, David here from First Star Dental. Today I'm going to be walking you through the general uncrating process for a First Star chair package. What we have here today is a 38 chair with a pivot mount delivery system. To start off, the things you'll need are a set of gloves. There are some pretty sharp edges on the metal pieces here, so a set of gloves will help protect your hands as you're working around the crate. The next thing you'll need are a flathead screwdriver and some pliers. So these will help to pry the metal locking tabs off of the wood, which will allow you to remove the wood crate from around the chair. The last thing you'll need to actually remove the chair from the pallet is a 7/32 Allen wrench. There are 4 bolts on the bottom side of the pallet that screw into the base of the chair that are holding the chair to the pallet. So you'll need this 7/32 Allen to remove those 4 bolts to be able to remove the chair from the pallet. So there are 2 ways that you can remove the crate from around the chair package, and that depends on how many people that you have doing this job. If it's just you, there are metal locking tabs located on every edge of the crate, and you'll just pry open these tabs and remove each panel one by one. Now, if you've got a helper, there are the same locking tabs on the bottom edge of the crate. All you need to do there is pry those open, get a helper to stand on the other side, and lift the entire crate over the chair package once you've got all of them undone. If there's only one of you on site to do this job, I'm going to take you through and show you how to do it with one person. And that involves just removing all of these locking tabs and then going through and removing each panel one by one. So these are the locking tabs, and you see this little piece of metal that's bent over. You'll need to pry this up so that you can eventually remove this whole portion of the lid. So what you're going to do is you'll take your flathead screwdriver, get that popped up, come in with your pliers, and bend it up the rest of the way. You'll go through the rest of these up along the upper edges, and that'll allow you to pop the lid open. One other trick that you can use if you don't have pliers, but you have a screwdriver that will fit, is you see this hole here. Once you wedge your screwdriver inside and you've got this popped up enough, stick the head of your screwdriver through the hole, and that'll allow you to easily pry it the rest of the way up, so you don't even need pliers. So I've got all the locking tabs pried up on the lid, and now it's time to remove the lid off of the crate. Usually you should be able to just lift it off, but if you need help, sometimes it does get stuck. You can wedge your screwdriver underneath this metal banding on the corners and use that to help you pry. Now that we have the lid off, what we're going to do next is remove one of the broad sides from the crate. So that'll involve doing the same procedure and removing those locking tabs on the vertical edges, and then go through and undo all of the locking tabs around the bottom edges of the crate. So I've got all the tabs undone on this side, so now we can pull it off the same way that we pulled the lid off. Just give it a firm yank if it's not coming off. So now that we've got one of the broad sides off, we're going to go through and undo all of the locking tabs on the rest of the bottom of the crate. Once we've got those off, we'll be able to lift all 3 panels off at the same time. All right, so I've gone ahead and undone all of the bottom ones. So now all we got to do is lift each side up. Once they clear the little slots that these locking tabs are in, you can then slide all 3 panels off at the same time. So if you're having trouble getting one of these edges to clear, make sure that the locking tab is bent all the way back so that it's straight. And if I can do this in dress shoes, so can you. All right, now that we've got everything off, let's take all of the baggage off. So this is how your chair package will come. Now, this is a 38 pivot package, but regardless of the chair or the delivery you have, it'll be set up very similar to this. You have 2 boxes on the side, one of which is your light arm and the other one is your water bottle post. These 2 boxes up here, the bottom one is your junction box with all the plumbing inside of it, and the upper one is the light head. So everything is already more or less installed. Your delivery head with the flex arm with all the tubing already run through it. The only thing you'll be doing here is replacing the post with the actual water bottle post. But all of your assistance vacuum package is already hooked up. The tubing, the 1/2-inch corrugated is already run through. And you've got a foot control that's already plugged into the board. So as soon as you hook the chair up to power and cut the box open, you'll be able to start controlling the chair. One thing to note is that I'm going to leave this chair on the pallet because we'll be shipping this to a customer. But before you cut any of the shrink wrap off or any of the zip ties, make sure that you have the chair in place where you want to install it before you undo any of the banding or the straps. So the next set of tools you'll need to finish the installation is something to cut the plastic wrap off. So I've got a utility knife, a set of snips to cut any banding or zip ties off, and a set of Allen wrenches. So first, let's cut off all the zip ties here. I'll pull this away. Okay, so your bottle post is going to be in these boxes, so you're just going to have to cut the shrink wrap off. To make it a little easier to get the post off, the temporary post, we're going to cut away all this plastic and free the delivery head. We are going to finish cutting all this plastic off. Remove the two boxes, get everything out of the way so that we can move on to the next step of raising the chair and then positioning the chair adapter in the correct orientation. There are two zip ties holding the chair to the pallet, so you'll need to cut these before we can raise it. So we're going to go on either side of the chair, cut the zip ties. And same thing for the foot control. So cut the zip ties and then cut the box open so that you can pull the foot control out, and as soon as you plug the chair in, we'll be able to raise it. Come to the front of the chair, plug your chair power in. You should hear an audible beep that'll confirm that the chair has power to it. Now that your chair is connected to power, you can raise it up to a suitable height for the next steps. Once the chair is raised up to an appropriate working level, next we're going to remove this temporary post that was used just for shipping, and we'll replace it with the bottle post after. So what you'll need is an 1/8-inch Allen wrench to remove this single screw up at the top. When the screw has been removed, you can cut the zip ties off of your tubing bundle here, because you're going to be pulling the tubing through this hole after you remove the arm and delivery head. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right, so we've got the delivery head and the flex arm free. All you'll do is pull the tubing through this temporary post. Set this aside for now, and then we'll pull the rest of the post out of the elbow arm. Now that we have the delivery head and flex arm removed, we can go ahead and remove these two 3/32 set screws down here at the bottom. And once those are loosened, we can remove the temporary post and we'll replace this with the actual water bottle post. Same thing on this side for your light post. We're going to loosen the two 3/32 screws so that we can temporarily remove our double bend arm, and this will allow us to install our vertical light post and drop the wiring through. In this next step, we'll be leveling and repositioning the chair adapter into the proper orientation. So to do that, we're going to raise the chair up so that we have access to the two bolts. And what you'll need is a 5/16 Allen wrench, an adjustable wrench, and a bubble level. So the first screw is this large one here. That's a hex screw. You'll need an adjustable wrench for that. The second screw is located underneath the backrest cylinder. Now you'll have to access it from underneath, and that's a 5/16 Allen. This one, all you have to do is loosen the screw slightly, just enough so that you can rotate the chair adapter into place. This screw right here, which uses the 5/16 Allen, just get that a little bit loose enough where you can now rotate the chair adapter into place, and then you'll just hand tighten it before we go into leveling. Now that we've got the two screws loose, we can rotate the chair bracket into position. Normally for the pivot mount deliveries, we want the chair adapter to be centered with the upper chair casting. And once it's in position, you don't have to tighten the screws yet because we need to level it. To check the level, we're going to set our bubble level on top of the bearing stack. And to check the lateral level, we're going to have the bubble level be transverse to the chair. To check our longitudinal level, we'll set it and rotate it 90 degrees and have it be parallel to the axis of the chair. So it looks like our chair adapter is skewed slightly to one side as far as the transverse. So in order to level, there are 3 set screws on the bottom side of the chair adapter. They use a 3/16 wrench, and it uses set screws to either push one side up or down. And so because we need to tilt this chair adapter one way, we will come under here and we will tighten this set screw. And you can see that now the bubble is moving towards the center and we are within spec. Now that we have the transverse level set, let's rotate our bubble level 90 degrees and we can set our longitudinal level. So just to give you a little better view of what's going on down here, these 2 set screws are what you use to adjust the transverse level. And there's a 3rd set screw back here that'll help you adjust your longitudinal level. By tightening this 3rd one back here, that will push the front of the chair adapter down, and by loosening it, that'll allow it to come up. If you need more adjustment, simply further loosen this screw as well as the one up at the front. When your chair adapter is level and it's in the proper orientation, take your adjustable wrench and tighten down the 2 screws, the first one in the front all the way to set the position, and the second one with your 5/16 Allen in the rear. All right, so we've got the box open that has the water bottle post inside of it, and inside what you'll have are your handpiece tubings. We've included a little gift for all the technicians here, and that is an Allen wrench set, which you can take with you. And the last pouch in here, other than the post, is your electric motor if you ordered one, the male ends of the quick disconnects for the air and water, plastic couplings, some inline barb fittings, grease, which you'll use when you install these posts, and the 2 syringe tips. Okay, so I'll give you a little close-up of what you're going to be doing for the tubing. So you're going to use this pull zip tie that's already routed through. You'll take your tubing bundle and you're going to pull the air and the water connections through and make them here in this manifold here. Here's the purple line going to the air regulator. This is the turquoise line coming from the bottle. With the chair adapter set, we can now install the bottle post into the elbow. And before you tighten the 2 set screws down, push the elbow so that it's in line with the rest of the chair and rotate the hood of the bottle manifold so that it's 90 degrees so that when you're swinging it back and forth, it's not going to interfere with the chair upholstery or a patient's legs. Once it's in the proper orientation, tighten the 2 set screws down before we work towards installing the flex arm and the delivery head. Before we drop our flex arm into the post, make sure you loosen the 2 set screws up here. Otherwise, you're going to have a pretty bad time trying to drop that thing in here. Now it's time to install the delivery head and the flex arm at the same time. One top tech tip that I have is that you can set box 1 for the utility center back on top of the chair so that you can rest the delivery head on top as you're feeding the tubing through the post, as well as taping the 2 tubes that you'll be pulling with this pull string. We're going to be taping the ends of the purple and the turquoise tube to the end of the pull string because we'll be routing that through into the shroud for the bottle manifold. With the 2 ends of your purple and turquoise tubing taped to the end of your pull string, you can now feed the rest of the tubing through the post. So we're going to push this all the way through until we feel it come out at the bottom of the elbow. And once you have more or less the same amount of slack, you can then start to feed the pull string through as well. Now that our tubing is all the way pulled through, we can drop our arm into the post and ensure that you're dropping it in straight, otherwise that eccentricity may cause it to bind up as you're dropping it in. And there we have it. Your delivery head and arm are now installed. The last step is to retighten these two set screws. And once that's in place, this bad boy's not going anywhere. All right, to make your connections down at the chair adapter, first we're going to pull this cover off. Again, 3/32 Allen wrench. Okay, now we can make our final umbilical connection. So we'll take our tubing coming from the delivery head, pull it through this hole in the elbow, take out the umbilical from the access port. Now we're going to connect light colors together, as well as the electrical connectors. Make sure to shove any excess tubing back into the arm. And once all that's made, you can reinstall your cover like so. Okay, so the longest box will have your light flex arm and your light post inside of it. So inside here, you've got your light post, which is what we'll put on first. All right, now we're going to move on to our light installation. So we're going to drop our post into the elbow, and then we're going to fish our wire through the double bend arm. Before we drop this arm into the post, make sure that you apply some of that grease that was included onto the exposed metal portion of this part, as well as on the inside of the copper bushing over here. Then, I would recommend taking the connector for your wiring and taping it to a guide wire or some fish tape and fishing it through this arm before you drop both of these arms on top of the post. One very important thing to remember is before you drop this into the light post with the wiring, make sure you don't forget to include these decorative collars. Once you have all those lights installed, make sure to tighten the two set screws at the bottom of the post. All right, bear with me folks, we're almost done. The last thing to do for setup is to loosen the set screw for the upper assistance arm so that when we're rotating all of this into place, we can swing that 180 degrees. And there's a bagged screw back here. What you're going to do with that is take it out of the bag, rotate the plastic angle stop so that the hole lines up with the hole in the bracket, and then you'll install that screw to complete the installation. And that concludes the uncrating and general setup of a First Star chair package. Be sure to look out for our other videos for more top tech tips, such as how to install the light head onto the arm, as well as any fine tuning and adjustments that you can make on the delivery system. I hope that helps, and I'll see you next time. Remember kids, if you're not First Star, you're Last Star.